While we the people have one foot in shackles and they're reaching for the other, let's discuss. So I've been watching a lot of interviews with conservatives and liberals who think open-minded and can think outside the box and don't conform to like everything given by, a news outlet or a newspaper and realize that things are bought and paid for and stuff. But it got me thinking, and it was talking a lot about how America's being perceived right now. There have been a lot of polls done, and a lot of people a little upset by the fact that percentages are showing many other countries, when asked about if they fear war and who they would fear going to war with, it happens to be with America. And that sits with me really horribly as an American because that's how we're being viewed around the world. The people that we're propping up on these pedestals and giving a large voice and putting in charge of being the voice for the American people are really racist, homophobic, fear-mongering war profiteers, and I can completely understand why average citizens in other countries fear or hate us. I mean, if that's what you're seeing, it's the same here. Like, during the Cold War era, when we were told to hate communism and to hate Russia, that made no sense. Like, it doesn't make sense to look back, and why would you hate an entire country or an entire people and their government style when you know that the people want a government that works? And that's it. That's what they're thinking about. Nobody in their right state of mind thinks about how to hurt others before thinking about how to take care of themselves and their family. If that's good and that's taken care of and your government is helping to keep you safe and healthy, you wouldn't be thinking about how to hurt others because you're concentrating on what makes you happy. I feel like Americans as a people should be outraged by the fact that we're looked at as this fear-mongering country who takes this leadership role of being fortunate enough to be, born or live on land that just so happens to be in a very powerful country right now. We're very fortunate for that reason. It shouldn't be making us feel good to know that we're feared around the world. That's not a good thing. That's the bully of the high school. That's the person who walks around and people are allies with because they have to be, because they don't want to be on your bad side. They're not your friends. We don't have friends. We have allies because they have to be, because they don't want to be at war with us. It's gross. We need to stop this decade of war, this fear of becoming a better people, this hurdle that's keeping us from opening our doors and tearing down boundaries between others and being able to share the wealth, not only with all American people, but the world. Like, what's the point in having the abundance of food when all we have is obesity and waste, and we're not sharing and we're not taking care of the world, but we're the first to go to war? Like, what the fuck? This is dumb. I'm really anti the things we've been doing, so I think one of the best things to do is to make a video on how things could go forward and put that energy out there and get people talking. Why are some of these things in our history celebrated? Why do we celebrate certain people? Why do we celebrate certain wars when they were built on fallacies and people lied and certain people should be in prison? I mean, fascinating information is out there just one Google click away. I just hate that everyone pro-war and pro-ammunition for everybody and militant states and borders high and build walls and keep people out, and if you don't have white skin, you're bad. Like, I'm so sick of this mentality, and I'm sick of being perceived as a person who would think of that just because I live here. You don't represent me, and you don't represent my America. My America is for true patriots, people who have a conscience that's raised enough to think about others than themselves. I don't like people who strategize on how to keep others down. I don't like that. I think that having borders alone insinuates that certain people are better than others. We already have race wars, we have sexual orientation wars, we have gender wars, and now we're creating class wars. I mean, we're just building more and more structures for the rich to get further and further away from the poor and create this divide and create a global dominating government. And that's where it's heading. The people with the power, the highest up, they don't want country government anymore. They want a world government because they need to have easier control of the people of the world. Everything points to them needing a slave society. They just want a dumbed down society of workers who will not ask questions and will be happy with the scraps they're given. And that's very apparent. We can see it in our past. More people need to just fucking open their minds to the truth and realize that you've been spoon-fed bullshit. And it's okay to talk about it. And it's okay to have discussions. And it's okay to let the truth out. Because we need to deal with it at some point, and why leave it for future generations who aren't involved actively in the stuff we're talking about? Let's take care of it now. Let's get our hands dirty and do some hard work, and then after all is said and done, we'll be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor, and it'll feel so good. Maybe we'll have another sexual revolution, because god damn it, I wish I was around for 1969. One thing I have been seeing more of is veterans of service speaking out. There is that trend on Twitter I've been seeing of soldiers, whether it's Army, Navy, Marines, all taking a sign and putting it over their face saying, "I will not help Al-Qaeda fight a Syrian civil war." I think that's brilliant. I think more of our own soldiers need to speak out on how we are not taking care of our vets at all, and how the soldiers in these wars are being used as pawns and puppets for these war profiteers, and the reasons we're going in are not the reasons we're being told, and men and women are dying all the time. Families are being broken up. People aren't getting to live out their life because of lies, and that's happening, and that's truth, and more vets need to speak out about how this mistreatment is getting out of hand, how veterans are being denied health care and benefits and money packages and all this stuff, and it's all going on under our noses. One thing that Jesse Ventura mentioned being a quick solution would be to have the public pay for war in a wartime. He said that, along with bring back the draft and put in place where the public pays for war through a war tax, and that will stop war. Because people will realize that it is happening. It is daily. People are out there all the time. We are so removed from war right now. It is only glorified via movies and entertainment and video games and propaganda and things showing you that being courageous and fighting for your country is the best, most patriotic thing you can do, when in fact, fighting for the Constitution is the most patriotic thing you can do. And the Constitution talks about how we aren't supposed to have a standing army, and how Jesse Ventura pointed out that the CIA's own guidelines state that it's not supposed to operate on American soil, and yet they do. All of these things are shrouded in secrecy. And just as an American, I want to be like, why the fuck are we always at war? We don't have beef with the entire world. Let it go. I'm tired of being told that I have to support our troops when I don't support why we're over anywhere. There's no reason to support anybody being over there. I support the troops coming home safely. That's what I support. There's no reason. We found out we went to Iraq based on lies. Now we have the NSA watching everybody's everything. Emails, mail, what you fucking text your boyfriend or girlfriend, like everything's monitored. We have so many things monitored and so many fucking people being watched, because now we have to fear every fucking buddy, that people who are actually out to do bad things are getting away with it because there's no way to monitor everybody, and they're slipping through the cracks. All of the injustices and the privacy invasions that the NSA is committing, and how are we not standing up for the Constitution and the Fourth Amendment, and how the fuck are we not realizing that all of this spying isn't working? Because otherwise, just as recently as the shooter in South California would have been caught far before they had ever taken out that atrocity, because they weren't even vetted before coming in. It's like, are you kidding me? We're putting all our faith in these systems. We keep taking away rights of the people who live here, and we're burying ourselves further and further down in the muck. We're not getting anywhere good. This isn't leading to a bright future, people. We're taking away more and more rights. It's leading to 1930s Germany, is what it's leading to. And that's another thing Jesse Ventura talked about. He's like, look at our militant police state activity. Why do they look like Nazi stormtroopers walking around the streets? This is somebody who needs to stand up to their government and say, hey, you know what? You're going to be held accountable for the actions you take. You are going to be held accountable for lies, because nobody is being held accountable right now, and the people who are trying to hold people accountable are either jailed or snuffed out. And that's something that's real. It's something nobody is talking about. It's something that I'm ashamed that I'm from a generation of people who I feel like aren't going to rely on facts, and yet whoever they hear it from, who's the most prominent, they'll just believe it. There seems to be so many fascinating things going on behind the scenes. This prosecutor, Vincent Bugliari, ooh, that name is just fun to say. But he is this insanely intense prosecutor. He's the one that prosecuted Charles Manson. Look him up. He has an amazing track record. Every murder case he went after, he won. He's amazing at prosecution. He was working on a decade-long case to take George W. Bush to trial on the behalf of the American public for committing conspiracy to commit murder and first-degree murder, all based on the fact that it has now been proven with factual information, documented proof, that George W. Bush took this country to war under false pretenses and lies for personal gain. George H. Bush was a very prominent Republican conservative, also orchestrator of the JFK assassination. Look it up. It's crazy interesting. But that whole family, their bloodline is a whitewashed, very militant stronghold with oil money reputation in politics. And it's something that this prosecutor, Vince Bugliari, he was determined to take this to the courts. But he died last year, and it just seems a little too fishy because he was fucking ready. He was on these shows promoting the fact that he just needs a litigator. He needs a prosecutor who is noble, a prosecutor who will stand by their guns. He said, read my book. If you agree with me, let's meet, let's talk. This is a man who was really trying to take a corrupt scenario in our past, something that people just don't want to face, just don't want to believe. They don't want to believe that our own president had a hand in 9/11 and terrorist attacks and bombing countries and going into wars with countries that had no business being in war with us. Having meetings with Tony Blair, the Prime Minister of Britain, talking about how they were concerned that Iraq had no weapons of mass destruction and Bush needed a reason to invade, so to provoke Saddam Hussein into war with this country. And that's how we got over there. There was no reason we went over there. All of it was a lie. All of this was for different reasons, and we don't even know if those are all the reasons. There's such shady shit going on behind the curtains, and we still refuse as a public to want to know. Thank God we're living in the era of the internet. Thank God there is a voice, a small voice, but still. Thank God there are people out there really trying to wake everybody else up. I appreciate the people I have learned from continue to fight the fight and to help educate people on what really happened, or just to inspire people to want to know more. We need to stand up for something. We need to be aware that people in power right now are there for a corrupt reason, and we deserve better. We deserve better treatment. We deserve to treat people equally and to have an enjoyable experience while we are here on Earth, and it should be celebrated. And I know I sound like a cuckoo banana, but honestly, it almost got to a point where I just don't care, because I can't take on the stupidity of everybody else's ignorance and willingness to be oblivious. It was just too hard for me to continue. I cannot believe in everybody anymore. I need facts. War and violence and all of this stupidity is not needed. Borders could disappear. Food and water and a healthy abundance of both could be provided to the whole world. This is all stuff we can do. It's all stuff that is easier to do than to not do. And yet we still choose the path that we've always done just for that reason. Because we've always done it. But if we choose to venture onto a path of something new and exciting and challenge ourselves, we'd get there. We'd achieve it. But until then, we just need to keep voicing our opinion and standing up for what we really believe. The truth can't remain hidden forever. So let's unbury it quicker than they expected, huh? Continue to do that. Continue to educate yourself and to fight for knowledge. Because educating yourself, I'm finding, is so much harder than they make it sound. It's making sure you fight tooth and nail for the education that you think you deserve. And you have to look for it outside of just an institution. You have to get it in real life experiences. You have to talk to people you normally wouldn't. You have to work jobs you normally wouldn't. And you have to step outside your comfort zone. And you have to be okay with others' ideas and opinions and lifestyles and understand that you don't know everything. And that's the beauty. We all have something to learn, and we all have something to teach. So do you. I hope I taught you something or inspired you to learn about something. If you have something to teach, please leave it in the comments below. I love reading them, all like 17 that I've gotten so far, but still, it's super fun. I love going through. Anyway, I hope you're having a good week. This video fascinated me, and I still have so many notes about the topic. I look forward to making another video about similar topics. And just take care of yourself. Shake off that stress. All right, have a good Wednesday. And I hope you're getting ready for the new year, man. I think 2016 is going to be baller. It's going to be really exciting. I think good changes are coming. Anyway, all right, I will see you soon. Bye.